Alright, let's get one thing straight, ladies and gentlemen. Everything cannot be free. I know it's amazing to experience a game that gives you all the DLC and all the cars and all the tracks and whatever else under the sun for free, but that is not reality. And the times where that was popular in video games is over. Instead of what we are getting for free, the question is now how many microtransactions are going to be in the game on release and through the game's lifecycle. The second question that will follow up is, are they going to ruin the game or help the game? Yes, it does suck that things have changed, but that's just how it is in this day and age, and I highly doubt video game companies worth billions of dollars will change their ways. But contrary to popular belief, microtransactions can help games, but only if they are done correctly. In recent years, microtransactions have become one of the most controversial aspects of modern gaming, often criticized for promoting pay-to-win mechanics or holding content that players feel should already be in the game on release or free later down the line. Even though the gaming community as a whole does not like microtransactions, nowhere that I have seen is this debate more heated than in the actual racing game genre, where people argue that real performance and progression should be earned on the track and not bought, which I kind of see. I do kind of agree with that. However, this perspective overlooks the broader impact microtransactions can have when implemented responsibly. Far from ruining the experience, they can actually enhance it in ways that are often invisible to players due to the narrow-mindedness that they may have when hearing about the possibility of a game having microtransactions. Games like Forza Horizon 5, The Crew Motorfest, Gran Turismo 7, they all demonstrate how microtransactions, when handled thoughtfully, can support deeper content, broaden access, and keep communities thriving long after launch. In truth, microtransactions may be quietly fueling a golden era for racing games, but that is only if we're willing to see the bigger picture. Microtransactions provide long-term funding that allows racing games to continuously evolve with new content, events, fixes, and quality of life improvements, and we all love those, don't we? In a genre where it thrives on variety and progression, this ongoing support is essential to keeping players engaged beyond launch. One of the worst things that a racing game can experience is having everything go well for the first month, and then the game just dies off for every month after that until a new one in the series comes out. Need for Speed is great at keeping that trope, unfortunately. Rather than relying solely on initial sales, developers can use this revenue stream to maintain servers, develop real expansions, and refine gameplay over time. This approach transforms racing games into actual platforms that continue to grow and develop, rather than just one and done experiences. Take Forza Horizon 5 for example. Since launch, it has delivered a steady stream of content updates including new cars, limited time challenges, and expansions like Hot Wheels and Rally Adventure. Yes, I understand that Hot Wheels is something that was there before in older games, however it has made a return, and that has to be contributed to microtransactions. Much of this is funded by players purchasing optional car passes and cosmetic packs. Gran Turismo 7 has added free vehicles, VR support, and new tracks post-launch despite early criticism of its economy. While its microtransaction model was initially polarizing, it has ultimately enabled the devs to keep enriching the game, offering players more choices in how they progress and experience a simulation. People love the dog on Unbound and how the dev team implemented the speed pass, but what people fail to realize is that it's what kept updates dropping for as long as they did in the first place. Before Kaizen took over, the updates were terrible, but once paid transactions were a thing, notice how quickly the updates became good. I don't think that's a coincidence. Microtransactions can also significantly lower the barrier to entry in the racing game genre by enabling developers to offer cheaper or even free versions of their games. This approach is especially important for attracting casual players or those who are hesitant to commit to a full price title. Maybe they don't know if they'll like the game. Maybe something in the game is kind of off-putting to them, such as Unbound and the anime experiences. Instead of requiring a $60 to $70 upfront investment, developers can give players a taste of the experience and then monetize optional content for those who choose to stay. Think of Call of Duty and Warzone, how it's free, right? But they still have those microtransactions in there. This model not only expands the player base, but also helps sustain the game through a wider and more diverse community. Another strong example is Asphalt 9 Legends, a free-to-play arcade racer with quote-unquote console quality visuals, but I'm gonna leave that alone, that has introduced millions of players, especially on mobile platforms, to the racing genre. By monetizing through blueprint packs and cosmetic upgrades, Asphalt 9 keeps the core gameplay accessible while offering value for paying players. The Crew Motorfest employs a hybrid model that includes free trials and discounted stuff, allowing newcomers to jump in risk-free. It then supports ongoing engagement through optional in-game purchases like add-ons and currency packs, ensuring that veterans and newcomers can coexist without disrupting the balance of the game. What is one thing that attracts a huge amount of players? Cosmetics and having the ability to customize your own character and give it its own identity. Now, I am not saying that this cannot be done in games where everything is free, but you can't help but notice that games that have those sort of things for free seem to drastically lack in quality and quantity compared to games where everything like that is not free. This does not mean every single thing needs to be paid for. Crew Motorfest has summits where you can win customization pieces for your character and cars for free. Same with Unbound in its free version of the Speed Pass. Cosmetic microtransactions play a unique and meaningful role in racing games by allowing players to express their style. In a genre where vehicles often act as avatars, this customization becomes a very powerful form of identity, and everybody likes their own identity, right? Players want their cars to reflect their personality. Whether that means a matte black supercar, a bright green street car, a wild livery, everything goes. Microtransactions that focus purely on aesthetics like custom wraps, underglow kits, horns, all that sort of stuff, stuff like that was in the Speed Pass. This enables this level of personalization without impacting gameplay, balance, or fairness. Lastly, and possibly the biggest thing, is the ability for microtransactions to limit time. Not every player has the same amount of free time to invest in grinding for unlocks, especially in games that feature deep car lists like Forza, or layered progression systems like Gran Turismo, and that is one thing that I feel the racing community lacks, which is empathy. I don't know why it's looked down on so much because you found a way to speed up a process when you don't have the time someone else has. Microtransactions, when implemented ethically, can offer time-saving alternatives without forcing them on the entire player base. This creates a more inclusive environment where players who want to earn everything through gameplay can still do that, but those who are busier or maybe have families or jobs or school can pay for convenience. When done right, this system respects players' varying lifestyles and acknowledges that enjoying a game shouldn't always be tied to super long hours of play. Gran Turismo is a prime example of this approach. While it initially faced criticism for pushing microtransactions and making progression feel grind heavy, the devs responded with balanced updates that improve in-game currency rewards. Now players have the choice: grind for cars at a fair pace or buy them outright if they prefer. Similarly, Forza Motorsport offers car packs and optional boosts that speed up progression without providing a gameplay advantage. This system allows players to tailor their experiences without punishing those who choose not to spend any money, and that creates a healthy balance between time, skill, and accessibility. When viewed through a broader lens, microtransactions aren't inherently detrimental to racing games. They are a tool, and like any other tool, their impact depends on how they're used and what they are used for. When implemented with care and respect for the actual players, they can fuel some of the genre's most exciting advancements. They give a bunch of DLC, broader accessibility, a bunch of features, deeper customization, all that sort of stuff, right? Rather than threatening the integrity of racing games, well-designed microtransactions can empower them to evolve and thrive in a rapidly changing gaming landscape. Ultimately, the future of racing genres may depend not on eliminating microtransactions at all, but just demanding that the devs and the community actually get better ones that enhance rather than exploit the game. Games like Forza, Gran Turismo, Crew Motorfest, and Asphalt show that it is possible to strike a balance between monetization and player satisfaction. If developers continue to use microtransactions to add value, not just revenue, they may prove to be one of the most important driving forces behind the genre's growth and sustainability. If you enjoyed today's video, make sure to go ahead and drop a like and subscribe, and I will see you all in the next video.